Okay, here's the mayor from Chicago, Cermak, that got assassinated. I think it was 1933. Here, we'll let Crystal tell you about it.
Anton Joseph Cermak, born May 9, 1873, died March 6, 1933, was an American politician who served as the 44th mayor of Chicago, Illinois, from April 7, 1931 until his death on March 6, 1933. Cermak was born to a mining family, the son of Katerina and Anton Cermak. He immigrated with his parents to the United States in 1874 and grew up in a town of Braidwood, Illinois, where he was educated before beginning to work full-time while still a teenager. He followed his father into coal mining and labored at mines in Will and Grundy counties. After moving to Chicago at age 16, Cermak worked as a towboy for the horse-drawn streetcar line and then tended horses in the stables of Chicago, the Pilsen neighborhood. He began his political career as a Democratic Party precinct captain, and in 1902 he was elected to the Illinois House of Representatives. 7 years later, he became alderman of the 12th Ward. Cermak was elected president of the Cook County Board of Commissioners in 1922, chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party in 1928, and mayor of Chicago in 1931. Cermak had also, in the 1910s, been elected and served as bailiff of a municipal court of Chicago. In 1928, he ran for the United States Senate and was defeated by Republican Otis F. Glenn, receiving 46% of the votes. While shaking hands with President-elect Franklin D. Roosevelt at Bayfront Park in Miami, Florida, on February 15, 1933, Cermak was shot in the lung and mortally wounded by Giuseppe Zangara, who was attempting to assassinate Roosevelt. At the critical moment, Lillian Cross, a woman standing near Zangara, hit Zangara's arm with her purse and spoiled his aim. In addition to Cermak, Zangara hit 4 other people, one of whom, Mabel Gill, also died of her wounds. Once at the hospital, Cermak reportedly uttered the line that is engraved on his tomb, saying to Roosevelt, "I'm glad it was me, not you." Cermak died at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami on March 6, partly because of his wounds. On March 30th, however, his personal physician, Dr. Carl A. Meyer, said that the primary cause of Cermak's death was ulcerative colitis. The mayor would have recovered from the bullet wound had it not been for the complications of the colitis. The autopsy disclosed the wound had healed. The other complications were not directly due to the bullet wound. Cermak was interred in a mausoleum at Bohemian National Cemetery in Chicago. Zangara told the police that he hated rich people and powerful people, but not Roosevelt personally. Later, rumors circulated that Cermak, not Roosevelt, had been the intended target, as his promise to clean up Chicago's rampant lawlessness posed a threat to Al Capone and the Chicago's organized crime syndicate. Zangar was executed in the electric chair months later for the shooting. Aliska Parabek, born 1906, died 1911, was a Czech-American girl who was a victim of kidnapping and murder in the spring of 1911. Her disappearance and the subsequent search for her preoccupied Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota law enforcement for 6 weeks. Her funeral was attended by 2,000 to 3,000 people. May 9, 1911, electrical engineer George T. Scully and other employees of the Lockport Power Plant near Joliet, 35 miles outside of Chicago, saw a body floating in the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal. At first they thought it was an animal from one of the nearby farms, but 3 hours later, realizing it was a human being, sent out a boat to bring it to shore. Undertaker William Goodall, examining the body, said that it appeared to be Miss Horribec's description. The description tallied to the shade of her hair, the texture of her stockings, and the stuff and tint of the dress of little Elsie. He thought the body had been in the water for several weeks, although only slightly decomposed. Another report indicated that her body was badly decomposed, but there were no marks of violence on her body. Goodall notified Chicago authorities, who sent police Costello to the Harbeck home. Elsie's body was brought home. Her uncle Frank Trampota took charge of the funeral arrangements. Carolina told Judge Sabbath that the search had exhausted the family savings and they had no money to bury her. Judge Sabbath gave her a check for $25, promising to raise more funds. Although Elsie's mysterious disappearance and death were once the subject of intense police investigation and journalistic photo, her story faded into obscurity.